Stop scrolling. This message is not random. It did not arrive because of timing, chance, or coincidence. If you are hearing this right now, God allowed it. Many people were not meant to hear this. Many would have scrolled past. Many already did. But you stayed. And that pause matters more than you realize. Something in you recognized this moment before your mind could explain it. You have been waiting for clarity, not noise, not opinions, not more advice. Clarity. You have been asking questions quietly. Why did things slow down when you were ready to move? Why did doors remain closed when you felt prepared? Why did God feel silent when you needed direction the most? You told yourself to be patient. You told yourself to trust timing. But deep inside, you wondered if something was wrong. Today, God is answering that question. He is not whispering anymore. God is speaking clearly now. You have been carrying more than people can see. Responsibilities you never announced. Pressure you never explained. Battles you never posted about. You learned how to function while uncertain. How to keep moving while unsure. How to stay composed while your mind searched for answers. Others complained out loud. You endured quietly. Others quit publicly. You kept showing up privately. Sometimes you wondered if staying silent cost you something. If patience delayed your life. If obedience pushed blessings further away. But God saw everything. Every prayer you whispered without confidence. Every night you stayed strong for everyone else. Every time you trusted Him without proof. What felt like delay was not rejection. It was protection forming in private. What felt like nothing happening was actually preparation happening beneath the surface. You were not forgotten. You were being prepared for something that requires stability. God often goes silent before He speaks clearly. Not because He has nothing to say, but because you are being trained to listen differently. Noise had to fade. Distractions had to fall away. Certain voices had to lose influence. So when clarity arrived, you would recognize it. You were not ignored. You were being recalibrated. There are stages that always come before clarity. First comes confusion, where familiar methods stop working, where old answers no longer satisfy. Then comes silence, where answers do not come immediately, where patience is stretched. Then comes alignment, where understanding settles, where peace replaces urgency. You have already passed through confusion. You have already endured silence. That is why this moment feels different. God is not hinting anymore. He is speaking clearly now. This is not a coincidence. Throughout history, clarity always followed silence. Those God used deeply heard Him clearly only after waiting seasons. Not because they were unworthy, but because they needed inner stillness first. Silence trains discernment. Waiting strengthens obedience. Delay removes dependence on external validation. Once that foundation is set, confusion cannot survive. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing what belongs to you. You are on time. Right now, doubt may try to interrupt this moment. A thought saying, "This sounds good, but what if it is not for me?" That thought is not intuition. It is doubt losing authority. When God speaks clearly, uncertainty reacts before it leaves. You do not need to fight it. Peace is already replacing it. God speaking clearly does not always mean audible words. It means decisions feel lighter. It means overthinking loses power. It means fear stops controlling your choices. You will notice you stop forcing clarity. You stop chasing confirmation. You stop second-guessing what you already know. Because clarity does not shout. It settles. And that is what is happening now. This message is not general. It could not be. Not everyone endured the silence. Not everyone stayed when things stalled. Not everyone waited without proof. But you did. That is why this message reached you now, and not earlier. This is not motivation. This is activation. You did not survive what you survived by accident. You were shaped. You were refined. You were strengthened quietly. And now, God is making things clear. Clarity about direction. Clarity about timing. Clarity about what must end and what must begin. You may not have every detail yet, but you have enough clarity to take the next step. And that is all obedience requires. God, I receive your clarity. I release confusion, fear, and overthinking. I release the pressure to understand everything at once. I accept alignment. I accept direction. I accept divine timing. What was unclear is settling. What was noisy is quieting. What was delayed is beginning to move. I trust what you are revealing. I trust what you are correcting. I trust what you are preparing. You do not need to rush. You do not need to announce anything. You will feel the shift internally first. For the next 72 hours, protect your focus. Reduce unnecessary noise. Pay attention to what rises in your spirit. Write what you sense. Not for sharing. Not for approval. For alignment. You did not stop scrolling by accident. God is speaking clearly now. And this is only the beginning. Now that clarity has begun to settle, you may notice something changing inside you. Your thoughts feel less scattered. Your emotions feel more balanced. Your spirit feels steadier. This is not coincidence. This is alignment beginning to take root. When God speaks clearly, He does not overwhelm you. He simplifies things. What once felt confusing starts to feel obvious. What once felt heavy begins to lose its weight. You are not forcing peace. Peace is finding you. For a long time, your mind was trying to figure everything out, trying to plan every detail, trying to protect you from disappointment. But clarity does not come through control. It comes through trust. And that is why God allowed you to reach the end of your understanding, not to frustrate you, not to confuse you, but to prepare you to listen. You were never meant to carry every answer. You were never meant to solve your entire future alone. You were meant to be guided. There were moments you doubted yourself, moments you questioned your decisions, moments you wondered if you were still aligned. But even in those moments, God was leading you. Even when you felt uncertain, your steps were still ordered. You did not drift off course. You were being led through a path that required patience. Many people want answers quickly, but quick answers rarely create lasting peace. God wanted you rooted, not rushed. That is why He slowed things down. That is why certain doors did not open earlier. That is why some opportunities passed you by. They were not meant for the version of you you were becoming. If they had opened too soon, they would have distracted you. If they had arrived too early, they would have demanded strength you had not yet built. So God protected you through delay. Now you are standing in a different place internally. Your discernment is sharper. Your boundaries are clearer. Your values are stronger. You are not easily pulled in every direction anymore. And that is why God can speak more clearly now, because you can hear without rushing, because you can receive without panicking, because you can obey without needing full visibility. Clarity does not mean you suddenly know everything. It means you know enough. Enough to take the next step. Enough to release what no longer fits. Enough to stop forcing what requires rest. God is making certain things clear to you right now. Some are confirmations. Thoughts you had but ignored, feelings you sensed but dismissed, ideas you postponed because they felt too quiet. God is confirming them now. Other things are corrections, gentle ones, not condemnation, direction. God is showing you what needs to change, what needs to be adjusted, what needs to end, and what needs to begin. You may feel drawn to simplify your life, to reduce noise, to step back from unnecessary conversations. This is not isolation. This is wisdom. When God speaks clearly, He often draws you inward before moving you outward. He aligns you internally before changing things externally. Because movement without clarity creates confusion. And confusion is not from God. You may also notice that things that once caused anxiety feel lighter now. Situations that once felt urgent no longer demand your attention. This does not mean everything is resolved. It means you are no longer fighting the process. You are cooperating with it. There is a difference. You do not need to prove anything right now. You do not need to explain your pace to anyone. God is speaking to you, not the crowd. What He is doing in you does not require public approval. It requires private agreement, and you have already said yes. Your desires are becoming more focused, less scattered, less impulsive, more intentional. This is clarity at work. When God speaks clearly, He aligns your desires with His direction. You stop chasing everything. You start choosing wisely. You start saying no without guilt. You start saying yes without fear. This is not confidence from ego. This is confidence from alignment. Quiet confidence. The kind that does not need validation. The kind that does not panic when others do not understand. You are not missing out. You are being preserved. Some things you wanted before no longer appeal to you. That is not loss. That is growth. God is removing your attachment to what would have limited you, so that when what is meant for you arrives, you can receive it fully, without fear, without hesitation, without confusion. You are entering a season where discernment matters more than speed, where listening matters more than speaking, where alignment matters more than appearance. God is not rushing you. He is refining you. You may feel a stronger pull toward stillness, toward reflection, toward prayer that is quieter and more honest. This is not distance from God. This is closeness. When God speaks clearly, He does not need performance. He needs attention, and you are learning how to give it. There is nothing wrong with you for wanting less noise. There is nothing wrong with you for outgrowing certain environments. There is nothing wrong with you for wanting depth instead of distraction. This is clarity, reshaping your priorities. Your life is not shrinking. It is focusing, and focused lives are powerful. You may not see immediate changes on the outside, but internal alignment is happening. And internal alignment always comes first. God is speaking clearly now, not through pressure, not through fear, but through peace, through quiet certainty, through settled direction. You are learning the difference. And that clarity will continue to grow as you move forward. As clarity continues to grow, direction begins to take shape, not all at once, not with every detail explained, but in a way that feels steady and trustworthy. This is how God leads when He wants relationship, not pressure. He does not overwhelm you with information. He gives you enough understanding for the next step. And that is intentional, because clarity without trust creates fear. But clarity with trust creates movement. You may begin to notice gentle nudges, not loud commands, not dramatic signs, quiet instructions. Let go of this. Pause here. Begin there. These are not random thoughts. They are direction forming. Direction often feels subtle because it requires attentiveness. God is not forcing you. He is inviting you to respond, not react, to move with intention, not impulse, to choose alignment over familiarity. Some of the choices in front of you may seem small. They are not. Small obediences create lasting shifts. You do not need to change everything at once. You only need to respond to what God is highlighting now. One step, one adjustment, one decision. That is how clarity becomes action. You may feel hesitation, not fear from danger, but discomfort from change. A voice that sounds logical, saying, "Wait until you are more certain." But certainty often follows obedience, not the other way around. You do not move because you feel completely ready. You move because you trust the one who is guiding you, and confidence grows after obedience. You have already been trained in waiting. Now, you are being trained in moving. Slowly, deliberately, faithfully. There is a difference between rushing and responding. Rushing is driven by fear of missing out. Responding is driven by trust. God is not asking you to rush. He is asking you to respond. You may notice that some things are easier to release now. Attachments that once felt heavy no longer hold the same power. Conversations that once felt necessary now feel draining. This is not loss. This is clarity clarifying. You are seeing more clearly what fits and what does not. Clarity always brings separation, not to isolate you, but to align you. Before something rises, it must be set apart. God is not removing things from your life to punish you. He is removing them to protect you, to make room, to reduce noise, to strengthen focus. You are not being stripped. You are being streamlined. At the same time, God may be inviting you into new responsibilities, new ideas, new disciplines, new ways of thinking, not flashy assignments, weighty ones. Because what is coming requires depth, not surface excitement. Depth. Depth is built quietly. You may feel led to prepare, to learn, to organize, to build consistency in areas you once avoided. This is not pressure. This is preparation. When God speaks clearly, He often prepares you before He presents you. Preparation is unseen, but it is powerful. You do not need to announce what you are preparing for. You do not need to explain your process. You only need to stay obedient. Obedience does not always feel spiritual. Sometimes it feels practical. Sometimes it feels repetitive. Sometimes it feels unnoticed. But obedience creates momentum in the unseen, and unseen momentum always becomes visible at the right time. You may wonder how you will know if you are truly hearing God. Here is the truth. God's direction brings peace, even when it stretches you. It brings clarity, even when it challenges you. It brings conviction, not condemnation. If something leads you toward integrity, patience, and alignment, pay attention. If something pushes you toward fear, haste, or compromise, pause. You are learning discernment. That is why the waiting season was necessary, so you could recognize clarity when it arrived, so you could distinguish between urgency and instruction, between pressure and guidance, between emotion and direction. You are not guessing anymore. You are discerning, and discernment grows with use. The more you respond to clarity, the clearer it becomes. This is a conversation, not a one-time command. God speaks. You respond. God clarifies. You adjust. This is relationship. You are not expected to be perfect. You are expected to stay attentive. There is grace in the process. Questions do not disqualify you. Fear does not disqualify you. Disobedience would, and you are not disobedient. You are listening. You are responding. You are aligning. That is why clarity continues to increase. You are not walking alone, even when the path feels unfamiliar, even when the outcome is not fully visible. You are being guided step by step. This season is not about speed, it is about accuracy. Accuracy creates confidence. Confidence creates peace. Peace confirms alignment. God is speaking clearly now, and He is teaching you how to walk with Him, not ahead of Him. Trust the pace. Trust the direction. Trust the clarity you have been given. It is enough, and it will grow as you move. As you continue to move with clarity, something else begins to loosen its grip. Fear. Not all fear at once, but the kind that quietly influenced your decisions. The fear of making the wrong move. The fear of missing your moment. The fear of disappointing others. The fear of stepping forward without full certainty. God is not ignoring that fear. He is releasing it. Fear loses power when clarity increases, because fear feeds on uncertainty, and uncertainty no longer dominates you. You may still feel cautious. That is not fear. That is wisdom, learning to breathe. There is a difference. Fear paralyzes. Wisdom pauses, then moves. And you are learning how to move without panic. For a long time, fear disguised itself as responsibility. It told you to wait longer, to prepare more, to stay where it felt safe. But God did not prepare you to stay hidden forever. He prepared you to move at the right time. And the right time is not when fear disappears completely. The right time is when trust becomes stronger than fear. That shift is happening now. You may notice a quiet confidence rising, not excitement, not arrogance, confidence. The kind that does not need to be announced. The kind that feels settled. You stop explaining yourself as much. You stop justifying your choices. You stop seeking permission from people who were never meant to guide you. This is not rebellion. This is alignment. Confidence grows when you stop outsourcing your peace. When you stop letting opinions override conviction. When you stop confusing noise with guidance. God is confirming things internally now, not through dramatic signs, but through consistency, the same clarity returning again and again. The same direction resurfacing even after you try to ignore it. The same peace settling when you consider one path and unease when you consider another. This is inner confirmation. And inner confirmation is stronger than external validation, because it cannot be taken away by circumstances. You may still want reassurance. That is human, but you no longer depend on it. You trust what God is showing you. You trust what He is removing. You trust what He is building. You are no longer asking, what if this fails? You are asking, what if this is obedience? That question changes everything, because obedience shifts responsibility. When you move in obedience, outcomes are no longer your burden alone. God carries what He commands. You are not responsible for controlling results. You are responsible for responding faithfully. This understanding releases pressure. Pressure you did not realize you were carrying. The pressure to get it right. The pressure to impress. The pressure to arrive quickly. God is removing that pressure. He is teaching you to move with peace, not performance. You may still have moments of hesitation. That does not mean clarity is gone. It means growth is happening. Every new level introduces unfamiliar feelings, but unfamiliar does not mean wrong. It means new. You are allowed to grow at your pace. God is not comparing you to anyone else. Your process is personal. Your timing is intentional. Your path is specific. You do not need to rush to catch up. You're exactly where you need to be to hear clearly. And because you are hearing clearly, you can move confidently. Confidence does not mean certainty about outcomes. It means certainty about direction. And you have that now. Even when the road ahead is not fully visible, you know where you are headed. You know what no longer fits. You know what requires courage. You know what demands obedience. And you know what brings peace. That knowledge is enough. Fear no longer controls your decisions. It may still knock, but it no longer has authority. Because clarity has taken its place. And clarity strengthens courage. You are becoming comfortable with trusting God beyond logic, beyond timelines, beyond external approval. This is maturity. This is growth. This is readiness. You are no longer waiting to feel brave. You are choosing to be obedient. And obedience produces courage. God is not asking you to be fearless. He is asking you to be faithful. Faithfulness carries you where fear never could. As confidence rises, you may feel a deeper sense of responsibility, not pressure, responsibility, a desire to steward what God is giving you, to be intentional, to be disciplined, to be consistent. This is not burden. This is purpose awakening. Purpose does not shout. It settles. It grounds you. It gives weight to your choices. And you are feeling that weight now. Not heavy. Meaningful. God is speaking clearly now. And His clarity is producing courage. Not reckless courage. Quiet courage. The kind that moves steadily. The kind that endures. The kind that finishes. You are not being pushed. You are being led. You are not being rushed. You are being strengthened. Fear is losing its voice. Confidence is finding its place. And inner confirmation is anchoring you. You are ready for what comes next. Not because you feel perfect, but because you are aligned. Now comes the shift you have been sensing. Not something loud, not something dramatic, something internal. Activation. Activation does not always look like immediate change on the outside. It begins with agreement on the inside. A quiet yes, a settled decision, a willingness to move when God prompts you. You are not waiting for permission anymore. You are responding to clarity. This is where alignment becomes action. For a long time, preparation happened in private. Lessons were learned silently. Strength was built quietly. Now God is inviting you to step into what has been forming, not all at once, not without guidance, but with intention. You may notice that you feel more alert spiritually, more aware of what drains you, more sensitive to what aligns you. This is not overthinking. This is discernment activated. Activation sharpens awareness. You begin to notice when something feels off. You begin to recognize when something feels right. You begin to trust those signals. God is not confusing you. He is training you. You are being activated to move differently, to speak differently, to choose differently. You will not react the way you used to. You will not tolerate what you once excused. You will not chase what no longer aligns. This is not arrogance. This is growth. As activation settles, you may feel a deeper sense of responsibility, not pressure, responsibility, a desire to protect what God is doing in you, to guard your time, to guard your energy, to guard your focus. You understand now that distraction is costly. Noise delays clarity, and peace requires boundaries. This is why God is calling you to be intentional. Intentional with your words, intentional with your commitments, intentional with your attention. You are not isolating, you are prioritizing. You are learning that not everything deserves access to you, and not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next season. This realization may feel heavy at first, but it is freeing, because alignment always simplifies. You no longer need to convince people who are not listening. You no longer need to explain what God is doing. You no longer need to rush to prove anything. Activation removes the need for validation, because you are anchored internally. God is sealing what He has spoken. Sealing means strengthening, stabilizing, confirming. You may notice that doubts feel weaker now, not gone completely, but quieter. They no longer dominate your thinking. They no longer control your choices, because clarity has taken root, and clarity anchors faith. God is sealing this season, so it cannot be easily shaken. So when challenges arise, you do not panic. So when resistance appears, you do not retreat. So when progress feels slow, you do not quit. Because you know what God has spoken to you, and you trust it. Sealing does not remove obstacles. It removes confusion, and confusion was the real enemy. You are now moving from waiting to walking, from listening to responding, from preparation to participation. God is not asking you to do everything at once. He is asking you to stay attentive, to stay obedient, to stay aligned. Your next steps may feel simple. A conversation you need to have, a habit you need to change, a commitment you need to make, a direction you need to follow. Do not underestimate small obediences. They carry great momentum. What you do consistently matters more than what you do dramatically. God works through faithfulness, not flash. You are not being launched into chaos. You are being established in clarity. This is not the end of the process. It is the beginning of movement, and movement reveals more clarity. As you walk, more will be revealed. As you obey, more will be understood. As you trust, more will be confirmed. This is how the path unfolds, step by step, not all at once. You are not behind. You are right on time. God does not waste preparation. God does not forget obedience. God does not abandon what He initiates. What He started in you, He will complete. This season is marked by intentionality. You will move slower than some, but you will move with accuracy. You will say no more often, but your yes will carry weight. You will speak less, but your words will matter. You will feel less pressure, but more purpose. This is activation, not hype, not emotion. Alignment in motion. God is speaking clearly now, and you are responding. You do not need to wait for another sign. You do not need to hear it again. You already know. That knowing is your confirmation. Stay close. Stay grounded. Stay obedient. What God is unfolding will make sense in time. And when it does, you will see why the silence was necessary, why the delay was protective, why the preparation mattered. You are ready, not because you feel fearless, but because you are faithful. This is not motivation. This is activation, and what has been activated will continue to grow, quietly, steadily, purposefully.